we have Dr. Gamuchirai Mutezo, who is the founder of Madam Waste, urban and energy planners. I'm interested to hear, what does an energy planner do? And this keynote will be focusing on the circular economy and redefining Africa's future. Dr. Mutezo, you are pioneering the circular economy in South Africa, and this is a perspective that shifts us from wasteful linear models to regenerative design that aligns with a lot of the Sustainable Development Goals. If I think about Sustainable Development Goal number 12 around responsible consumption, and most importantly, Goal 13 around climate action, which is at the forefront of a lot of conversations globally and also locally, as we're seeing in the G20 landscape. How are you doing this afternoon?
Very cool. Greetings to everyone online. It's always a treat to be with like-minded people. I am doing well this side, can't complain. But if I have a croaky voice, I'm just getting out of a flu season, so do bear with me.
We wish you a speedy recovery. The voice sounds perfect. We can't
Receive.
even hear any signs of flu in that voice.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, the floor is yours. Please tell us more. What does an energy planner do?
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind intro. I will put up a presentation shortly, then we take you through just one of many angles to look at circularity. It's one of the most beautiful concepts. It's nothing new under the sun, but it has so many opportunities for us to unpack. Now, it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to be an advocate, it's another thing to be a consultant. The question is, what can you do within your own little space? If you are going to be a weed, be the best weed known to that environment. If you're going to be a tree, be the best tree. If you're going to be a flower, be the best flower. The point is introspection. You can't just speak and complain. What can you do within your own little space? And so we saw an opportunity to set up a demonstration site so that we can show how to decentralize circularity. You can write about it. You can go to meetings and go, ha ha, he. But once you see it, it's a different ballgame altogether, especially for the kids, especially for those in our tertiary institutions, and thereafter also followed by decision makers in various organizations, whether it's public or private, because the decisions that they make, once they see a demonstration, will actually influence what tomorrow would look like. So if I, as a chief financial officer, just go, why should I spend money on waste management? Just dispose it. It's different from when they've come to see the demonstration, like, okay, you know what? It's an extra R2, but I see the vision because it's going to affect my kids as well if I am intentional or unintentional with the decisions that I'm making in my business. So it starts at home. All right. I'll skip through some slides because I've already touched on it. This is simply saying Africa this, Africa that, Africa. Yes, we got the picture. I've spoken on that in terms of what led to seeing those opportunities in decentralized energy. So these are just some of those findings from the doctorate, which resulted in what the company is today. And for those who may not be familiar, this is what is known as the butterfly diagram, which was prepared by an organization in Europe, in Britain to be specific, called the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. They live, breathe, eat the whole concept of circularity. It's used widely because of its simplicity to understand. But at the end of the day, this diagram evolves. It can be customized to different environments. And it's simply saying that there are two aspects to a circular economy. It's critical for us to have these conversations because if you can appreciate these aspects, you start to see where you fit in from a decision-making perspective and where you fit in from an opportunity and implementation perspective. So for those who are operating in the biological side, the green side here, that's us working with the smelly smellies, the yummy smelly smellies, the beautiful organic material, converting that into biofuels, converting that into compost, converting that into biogas, again, touching into agriculture and feeding the earth, feeding the soil. Even fish farming, aquaculture, hydroponics, they are principles of circularity because with aquaculture, water from the fish tank nourishes the produce. They take all those yummy, delicious fish pee, consume them as fertilizer. The water that's reticulated back into the fish tank becomes favorable for the fish. So there's nothing that has gone to waste. This is what we then call designing waste out from the beginning, not the beginning, the beginning, being intentional. And then on the other side, whether you are looking at mining, you are looking at textiles, you are looking at metals, construction and demolition waste, there are opportunities to redesign, remanufacture, refurbish, thrift, and the R's continue. There are up to 9 different R's that you can think of. So nothing at the end of the day should actually be considered waste. However, in order for us to see the opportunities in these different streams, we have to practice what I'm calling the gospel of separation at source. Yes, can everybody in the house give me an hallelujah? The gospel of separation at source. Next time you see the waste reclaimer passing by your house, ladies and gent, say thank you. Those are just a few examples of individuals who separate our waste material so that what they extract to be able to butter bread at the end of the day, that's 1 kilogram less that's going to be thrown away for the sake of being thrown away. While that's 1 kilogram less, that's a plate of food on someone else's table. That's a saving on another person's table because they are not recreating what there is. They are just melting it and redesigning it, converting it into something different. So you see your waste reclaimer, say thank you. And where you can, be part of those activities together with your family. Have the 2-bin system, and hey, don't necessarily wait for government to come and give you a bin. We can be creative with the containers that we have. Some of us are buying fridges every now and again. Use that box and put all the paper in that box. Some of us are throwing away the washing basket, plastic one. Use that as a container for all the plastic material. So in our homes, let's also be intentional to make some of these decisions and not necessarily wait for someone or something to happen. Yes, it can catalyze for sure, but we shouldn't sit there and be like, I'm not budging until I get a bin. I'm not budging until I get a plastic. There are other areas that may be in more need or that may not have the opportunity to have these kinds of conversations where we inspire each other to partake in such activities in our homes. The principle applies to institutional level. And so in some of your organizations, you do have those different color-coded bins. If you keep passing them after this, remember my face. Let my face scare you to practice the separation at source because it starts with us. It really starts with each and every individual making an intentional decision around that. Okay. So bear this in mind because we're going to conclude with some opportunities that can present economic activities. So if circularity doesn't mean you have to beg and plead, you can still, I keep saying, have a beautiful impact on society while you run a business. We can still butter bread out of it. Okay, now this is what I want to spend a bit of time on. We set up this demonstration project out of, again, frustration. I guess I get frustrated and I do stuff. Frustration out of, you've prepared a beautiful report that says these are the recommendations and you should do this and you should do that. I guess at times one would receive the recommendation, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay. It might not make sense. So said, let us set up our own demonstration site and have two technologies, at least start off with two. We are based at the Agricultural Research Council in Irene, Tswane, strategically so. They have a lot of livestock manure, and that is food fit for a queen. Microbial queen. All of that, if it's not handled well, would be seen as waste. But for us, it's an opportunity, and it's a beautiful relationship to be in because we can assist to handle livestock, cattle, pig, chicken, you name it, bring it on. Secondly, because of the farm nature, they are agro processed material, either in the form of sorghum or maize. Again, we can take that off their hands. Even the garden material, shrubs, trees, we can take it off their hands. And lastly, food waste, comprising of vegetable and fruit. We can use that as well. So we've got a 24-hour composting machine and a small-scale biogas system. Now, let me start with these pictures on the left. That's when we launched, when we're saying to people, bring your grandfathers, bring your kids, let's show you what is possible. These are not the only two technologies in the world, but it's certainly a start. With time, we want to add biochar, we want to add chipping so that you see the full bouquet of circular technologies just in the waste perspective. They could be similar, and they are similar technologies if you look at it from an agricultural perspective, if you look at it from a water perspective, textile, the principle remains the same, that these are things that are possible. So the picture where my cursor is our small little biogas system. It's intentionally small because once you set up a biogas system, you want to be able to use the energy. So the staff members make their breakfast and lunch from the gas. And the picture below is just a depiction of once we fed the cow manure and the gas has generated, the balloon will go up, which is an indication that there's gas. So the same way when you are feeling indigestion or you've eaten a lot of fiber, you produce gas. We then use that gas for cooking. So they'll make a cup of tea, you name it. One of the greatest experiences to date is my team. I absolutely adore my team. They are young and they don't have traditional waste management training. They have curiosity. They are curious. They are ginger. They're like, Doc, what is this? Show us. We want to spend time. And who am I to say no? So from a skills development perspective, starting to show younglings that it is possible to run a business along the value chain of waste, run a business along the value chain of practicing circularity in these very urban areas. Again, the ARC's location is quite critical because it borders 3 giant metros, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg. So you're showing what is possible within that urban area. Okay. The pictures in the middle here, those are just examples of more than 18 different tests that we did, mixing food waste with horse manure. I mean, look, we had the time of our lives. Like, it was indigenous data collection because at that stage we were figuring out, we said, let's learn on the go. Now we're in a position to say, okay, we can put in these kind of systems. We still have that outstanding. But the critical component here is we have to run this demonstration site like a business because you want to show entrepreneurial component. You're not demonstrating and just, making it look pretty. The reality is it should show the principles of entrepreneurship, that you can butter bread and take kids to school from practicing circularity. Okay, so now we're starting to sell compost and all sorts of things to make sure that whatever expenses we incur, this business can take care of itself. Tomorrow, if a young person or any other person says, I want to try it, these are the principles that we can share and help them realize that it is a whole business that we're running. So these at the bottom, we welcome site visits, mindset shift. And the team will show them how the composter works, how we feed it, and the compost comes out, and that's just half of the team who like things. We are likers of things. My favorite part of the week is getting that text which says, Doc, we want to try this. Like, look, I could not have asked for a better team. They like things. They're the ones who suggest let's experiment, because one also makes sure that you create that environment for exploration. Let's not fear things going wrong. The worst thing that can happen is you learn something new. Okay. Now, this is the fun part. What opportunities are there? And those opportunities within our African cities, when we talk about urban and energy planning, starting with separation at source, you start to see what can you do with the different streams of waste. So if you are a person who enjoys plastic or a person who likes construction and demolition waste, side note, I had a guest, a wonderful, lovely guest who does art using pebbles and leftover material from construction and demolition waste. Even if it's 2 kilograms that she's used in a day, that's 2 kilograms less, and that's 2,000 Rand more in her pocket because she's redesigned, she's recreated a new product. But it started with her being able to access clean stream of waste. And by clean, we mean it's not contaminated with plastic or leftover juice. And even if it's leftover juice, you can work around it. But yes. So for those who would be wondering, okay, what conversation am I having with my kids today? Why should they actually look at opportunities in this space? I mean, it's waste. No. It's a resource. It is not. We use waste because it's a word, but it's in actual fact a resource. So when you unpack that entire value chain, you are looking at the generation, the separation, collection, processing, and disposal. The typical way we've been doing it is we generate and straight to landfill, boom, ends there. But now that we unpack it, we start to see, okay, for those who are generating waste, an opportunity for Cynthia, who's online wondering what can she do as a side gig, packaging redesign. So you start looking at different ways we can package, whether it's food or clothing, material that can easily biodegrade. So if it ends up in your backyard, it can easily disintegrate once it rains or when you water it. It's a business opportunity. Why not? It's a business opportunity that can have an impact. If we look at separation, Thomas, who's online, who's got a bakkie, wondering, what service can I offer to Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so? You can offer the 3-bin system, which is some extent already happening, but we can make it more sexy, can make it more exciting. 3-bin system, Mr. So-and-so will do the separation. You collect that material with your bakkie and you drop it off at Madam Waste. We take the organics. The other material, you can sell it to Coca-Cola. Other material, you sell it back to SAB. That's a business. You can do that Monday to Friday. Let me jump to processing, right? So processing, as we do, we process the material into biogas as well as compost. That's a service. There are fees that come with it because it has to run like a business. You have to show that it can be a business. If you're in textile, you could collect all the material from producer X, producer Y, and recreate shwe couches and showcase at decor. What is this one? It's called decor. Yeah, that decor event, that one. Just can't remember the name. Showcase. And that becomes the new trend in interior design, using up recycled, redesigned, refurbished, interesting things like that. So, ladies and gents, when we sit and we think of what our environment has to present, especially in urban spaces, see waste as a resource. Do not see it as something that you discard. But let us start with the conversations that you have in your home. Whether it's with your lover, it's with your parents, nephews and nieces, friends hanging out. Speak about some of these things. When someone is asking you, I don't know what to do to get an extra buck, the extra buck is around you. But we need to feed our minds and intentionally want to do, intentionally be willing to take those risks along the way for us to see the beauty that waste is.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Galmo. You know, as you were presenting, amongst many things was um, maybe we should do this at creches and primary schools and secondary school because, you know, the way you were presenting, it's no offense to anyone, you know, in the room. I feel like, you know, a toddler that has been, you know, told stories about moonlight and all of that. So, you know, I'm saying all of that to say that I truly, truly and genuinely admire your style of presentation, and it's absolutely engaging. So thank you once again. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat. Otherwise, you can raise your virtual hand and we will be able to allow you to switch on or turn on your microphone and your video. So while we wait for whoever is interested to ask questions, you know, I think I've said this a couple of times or many times as far as I can remember. Um, but more importantly, this year, 2025, makes it the 10th year, you know, makes it 1 decade that I've known you. You know, the first time that I encountered you when you were in your previous um, uh, place of work, you know, with your other colleagues. 2015, you know, was the first time I walked into that office, and you were one of those that truly embraced me and with some of my crazy, you know, ideas and things that I thought were possible and all of that. So, and whenever I extend or we extend as 67 CEOs Foundation an invitation to you to add value to the ecosystem, you know, you graciously accept our invitation. So I just want to, you know, use this particular opportunity to say thank you very much and to the work that you're doing, you know, at Madam West. You know, we're so proud of you. Anyone wants to ask a question, please let us know. So I guess you know, if I have to engage you further, would be on the entire or how are you seeing maybe the society at large or businesses, you know, getting to know more about the circular economy and the opportunities that are there from business point of view. You know, are people, you know, begin to adopt and accept some of the business opportunities, understand rather some of the business opportunities in the circular economy?
Thanks, Sam. I suppose this sermon of mine was so good that people feel inspired. They're already sorting material in the background. But jokes aside, and yes, thanks to the person who mentioned Decorex. That is the platform I was thinking about, which also creates an opportunity for businesses to showcase what they're doing within the circular space. Before I take the hand that's up, there are two perspectives. One is, unless something directly affects you, you won't do it. So you'll have organizations, individuals, institutions who are now being affected by something. And that affection could be, oh, the price is too much, or flip, we really don't have an option. Now we need to change. Another, excuse me, another perspective is then organizations who have the values and the mission that's embedded in the principles of environmental sanctity, or within the principles of social impact, and they're able to see that there's a relationship between the two. Those who are really taking conscious choices around it. And then there would be another group of people who, because they so and so and that and that said we need to do it in order to get a job, or in order to get a tender, in order to get a whatnot. Okay, guys, let's do what needs to be done so that we can tick the box. So irrespective of the perspective that one is looking at it from, all these three perspectives are somewhat inspiring that approach of let's look at the intentionality of circular economy. However, there is untapped opportunity to look at our friends outside the so-called environmental or green economy space. Let me give you an example. If I approach a financial institution today and I tell them that I want to fundraise Series B to expand my textile processing facility, I will be taken to my grandmother's village, asked for my cat's DNA record and all those lineages, compared to a person who might come up with a health tech or an edutech. My point is, by engaging funders as well, or decision makers outside of the green economy, we can also expose them to the opportunity that, yes, it is possible for us to create financial models. It might take longer, or it might take a different route from what you're comfortable, from what you did your master's on, but it is possible. So there's not going to be a time where it's now enough. It should be constant, like water in your garden. And last but definitely not least is looking at our education. Let's not just limit it to waiting for the Department of Don to do the things. At home, weekends, what do you and your kids get up to? What do you and your partner get up to? Do you do some DIY activities? Do you watch YouTube videos? Do you make conscious decisions to go to hubs that have these entrepreneurs exploring stuff like that? Because education is not just limited to the classroom. So my point, constantly conversing, exposing, and intentionally engaging, we can hopefully see greater results in the next 10 to 15 years. But whether you like it or not, this beautiful beast called waste, it needs to be handled. Let's create the opportunities for us to handle it properly. Not find ourselves in a situation like because of lack of maintenance, the city of what has to switch off the water. Let's sort it out right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is how we are going to create, sustainable cities and communities and all of that. And in relation also to the greenhouse, emission, I mean, the work that you do is absolutely very pivotal and integral to that. Can't see the ends up again. Who, oh, yeah, there you go. Please switch on your microphone and your video if you're comfortable, and please ask questions or make comments.
Good afternoon again. I wanted to find out in terms of doing some of the recycling initiatives or programs or projects, what's the level of engagement when you look at in terms of front-end loading and ensuring that some of these projects, when they're being executed, they do have that mindset from the beginning, because recycling can also be painful or seen as retrofitting. And yeah, so I just want to find out if you do have engagements to engage or interface with the different types of project owners, and to what extent will that be? But I know that most of the companies will also do quite a lot during, especially your big businesses, towards the rehabilitation programs. They would have maybe put that amount of money that have set aside, which create an opportunity. And also when companies also do refurbishments, like I'm talking, yeah, they also have a lot of materials that get removed. So do you perhaps work in that space where you would get more material that you could use for your other projects than maybe targeting smaller companies? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Before you go, I have one or two questions. Are you asking as a decision maker in a medium-sized company, or are you asking as a small business owner? Just want to get the perspective.
No, I am in corporate. I am
Okay.
in energy industry, power
Okay.
production. Yeah, power plants. Yeah. So
All right.
to be
I want to
specific.
make it as customized as possible. So with your current activities, what challenge are you facing for you to be asking this question?
Um, I haven't really been seeing recyclers coming through. Maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't see them. I see them coming for smaller things, like maybe for cans and stuffs, but I would not see them or coming for the bigger materials, which maybe are quite a lot. So I don't know those things. Where do they end up in
Okay,
it
got
or
you.
being most? Yeah.
Okay, got you. Well, every stream of waste will have its own personality, quite literally. Your plastics or your metals, C&D will have its own personality, also depending on where this waste is being generated. From a corporate perspective, one of the most interesting things that you could do is to partake or be part of various industry associations. This is an area where I'd really give my hat off to South Africa, that there's an industry association for almost everything, even if it's the two-man membership. But to be able to just collate people to focus on a goal. For example, for those who are in organic waste recycling, there's an industry association called ORASA. Within ORASA, when you are a member or when you have opportunities to say, look, we are generating so much tomato waste, like 30 tons a day. We want to alert members within ORASA or members within Sabia that they are welcome to come and collect. That's a foot in the door. If one is in the plastic space, which is one of the bigger waste streams on the continent, there are small, medium players who are there, and a lot of entrepreneurs who are creating bricks, who are creating bitumen for roads, who are creating new furniture, you name it. So it's a matter of knowing us as a company, we are producing so many kilograms of lubricants. What industry association can we just go and expose ourselves and understand who the players are? Because at times it is certainly about being part of a network of like-minded individuals who partake in it. Secondly, they are definitely, I can bet you my bottom dollar, they are definitely individuals and people who are playing across each stream of waste. It's now a question of How much waste do you have? Are you looking to give it away, or are you looking to charge 50 cents for someone to come and collect? Because think of it as well from a business sense. If you're going to save, just tell me which waste stream you have, then I can use it as a practical example as I respond.
More metal, yeah, not plastic, not.
Aha. Okay, so we can touch base often, and I can introduce you to a few people. There are some artisans, associations or small groups of artisans who mold metal into new things, whether it's for interior decor or within the construction space, because we've got what we call material banks. That's a term that's used by those in the construction and demolition space, where whatever metals, bricks, frames, door frames, window frames, anything and everything that can be used can actually be reused for other projects. So that becomes a source of, I suppose, giving or supplying such metals. And then what's equally quite key is getting an understanding of the state that these metals are in, what they've been used for in the past, and what they can be used for in future. There's always an opportunity to smelt into new products or turn those into sculptures. That's another area where we've seen a few people making a comfortable living, just creating sculptures from what demonstration site or what this, using metals only. So it's a conversation that we can continue to have on the side, and I can guide you to some of these platforms. Okay, any other questions? All right, I see one question from Cecile, who says, thanks for the insights. What policy shifts do you believe will be most needed to bring out innovation within the circular economy? Oh, how much time do we have? There are a few conversations that are definitely happening through the Department of Science and Innovation. So if you check out circular economy, DSI, and this particular term code ST for circular economy. There we go. So if you check out that, just as an example, you see that the conversations are happening. But for a person to have exposure, it's now the curiosity, actually doing the homework and getting into the policy brief, seeing what the content entails. So this particular framework needs to feed in to some past policies that are in the process of being amended or being reviewed, as well as regulations that can support innovation. So it really focuses on the innovative component. Another department looking at circular economy with great intention is DFFE, Department of Fisheries, Forestry, and Environment. There are so many conversations from an academic and entrepreneurial perspective, including just general research of agriculture and the circular economy, concept of regenerative agriculture. So to what extent can we practice regenerative while we're trying to address food security, GMOs, fertilizer, etc., etc. So every sector within the green economy, there is something happening. It's then being part of those conversations, as I mentioned earlier, whether it's through industry associations or following a particular thought leader. It's there. Hence my earlier comment to say, through the podcast that we have, we want this to just pop up. We want it to just trend so that you're not limited to just being part of a industry association. Let it pop up while you are looking at Beyonce or something. Let it just pop up. Let it be a normal conversation. Okay. I see one more question. Lastly, do funders or lenders use recycling as a criteria to borrow? Maybe if time permits, I can read up on it later. Now this is an ongoing conversation because there are certain funding tools that, as I was giving that example, need to be tailored, customized. Waste is that cousin who comes to the party that is still going to make an appearance, but it's very important. Waste still needs to evolve. And those who are outside of the green economy or the waste economy are the individuals who we need to keep having conversations with. However, you have the IDC, and you can check this out, who have funded some projects that are linked to medium to large scale recycling activities across South Africa. You've got the EBSA, Development Bank of Southern Africa, who also fund such projects. But these are the big boys who look at the bigger projects. And it's now a matter of what do you have and does it fit into the criteria of the kind of projects that they are looking to fund? Another DFI I can think of, it's not coming to mind. If it does, I'll chuck it in the chat functionality. Some elements of VC, venture capital, although it tends to be more international than it is South African. And here I can stand to be corrected because, again, you might find that there are pockets of conversations happening.
Please, Teresa, ask your question. Please make it very, very brief.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for the presentation. Just one quick one. I'm interested in making resources using recycled materials. And I'm from a training institution. We specialize in building the capacity of the early childhood development teachers. So how can you help us? Because we do have a short course, which we call a basic course in making educational resources using recycled material. So after listening from you, I'm realizing that we can do much if we can collaborate. Can you please help me more? Because we want to expand what we are doing, because it does yield the desired results for those rural communities without educational resources. Thank you.
My simple answer, hell yes. Please drop me an email and we will arrange a meetup at our site so that when we speak to something that we can see, smell, touch, and maybe taste. So I got you.
Talk about taste.
Yeah, just taste the biogas.
How does biogas taste though?
Come
What
and
does it
taste.
taste?
You'll taste it. Don't worry. I'm joking. For chic purposes,
Thank
no.
you.
But
Thank
thank you
you
so
for
much.
no, thank you for an absolutely educational and engaging presentation. We're so grateful, to have you and playing a very important part, in the entire, ecosystem and in Africa at large. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Gamu, for presenting at the Africa CEO Impact and Sustainability Meeting 2025.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me and my passion. All the best.